Welcome to Top Stories Hub. Today we've got a new story. What's behind this door? Let's find out now. I've always been a guy who keeps his money locked down, his credit spotless, and his plans for tomorrow airtight. That mindset had my back for years, until the phone call that flipped my whole world upside down hit me out of nowhere. It was just a regular night, nothing fancy or out of the ordinary about it. I was parked at my desk, flipping through work reports, nursing a mug of coffee that had gone ice-cold ages ago. Outside my apartment, the city lights twinkled, a sight I'd gotten used to during those late-night grinds. Then my phone buzzed. I almost let it slide. The number wasn't familiar, but some gut feeling, or maybe just plain nosiness, pushed me to pick it up. "Hey, Mike, my dude." The guy on the line sounded hyped up, his voice dripping with this wild excitement that twisted my stomach before I even figured out why. "Who's this?" I shot back, scrunching my face. He let out a quick chuckle. "Oops, my fault. Guess we haven't officially chatted yet. I'm Tyler." "Yep, your wife's Tyler." The Tyler I'd caught wind of through hushed rumors and quick peeks on her phone. I didn't say a word, my hand clamped harder around the phone. "Dude, I had to hit you up," he went on, his tone practically dancing with glee, "because, get this, I finally did it. I snagged my dream house." I didn't make a sound. Tyler kept yapping, totally missing the chill creeping up my spine. "So, I kinda had to borrow your credit cards to pull it off, but no biggie, your wife said you'd be cool with it." My pulse didn't jump, it didn't even stutter. Instead, this weird, spooky calm washed over me, like that dead silence right before a thunderstorm rolls in. I eased back in my chair, let out a slow breath, and asked, "How much we talking?" He laughed, light and easy. "Oh, man, don't freak out. It's only like 45 grand, give or take." I took a lazy sip of that stale coffee, acting like I hadn't just been sucker punched. $45,000. Every ounce of money smarts I'd built up, every cautious investment I'd nursed, every solid choice I'd stuck to, gone, snatched up in one dumb phone call. I could have hollered, smashed the phone into the wall, demanded to know what the hell was going on, or threatened to sue his ass. But I didn't. See, I had an ace up my sleeve Tyler didn't know about. So I just grinned. "Nice one," I said, keeping my voice smooth as glass. He stopped short. "Hold up, what?" "You heard me right." I set my mug down soft, fingers drumming on my desk. "Congrats, man. When's the housewarming bash?" His quiet confusion was pure gold. He stalled for a sec. This Saturday." "You're coming, yeah." "Wouldn't skip it for anything." A beat of awkward silence hung there. "Sweet. Thanks, bro, knew you'd get it." He clicked off, still sounding thrown. I dropped my phone and stared at the credit alerts popping off on my screen. Each ping hit like a fist, screaming how bad this backstab cut. My wife, my own damn wife, had tossed my financial lifeline to some other guy like it was pocket change. And not just any guy, her side piece. The real kicker. She was so damn sure I'd roll over, like I always did, and mop up the mess. Not this time, though. I flipped open my laptop and started digging, bank statements, charges, dates, the works. I matched them up with my security logs. Months back, after my card info first went AWOL, I'd stuck cameras around the apartment. And there it was, plain as daylight, my wife sneaking around my office, digging through my desk, snapping pics of my cards with her phone. I ran that clip twice, not mad, not crushed, just crystal clear. Then I got on the horn. First call went to my lawyer. Second hit up the real estate agent dealing with Tyler's so-called dream pad. Third locked in my spot at that housewarming gig. When I hung up, I sank back in my chair and finally let myself breathe easy. They thought they'd pulled it off. They had no clue what was headed their way. I always knew my marriage had its cracks, no couple's perfect, but I never dreamed the woman I swore to stick with forever would serve up my financial future to another dude on a silver platter, grinning like it was no big deal. Tyler, my wife's boyfriend, as he cockily announced himself while gloating about the house he nabbed with my cash. I camped out in my chair for ages after that call, eyes glued to my laptop screen, watching the transaction logs back up his story. I'd poured years into stacking my financial deck just right, decades of playing it smart, paying on time, picking investments like a hawk, and in one swipe, they'd shredded it like it was trash. Still, I wasn't mad, not yet. Something icier, keener was brewing in me. A scheme was taking shape in my head, clicking together bit by bit as I combed through the numbers. I wasn't just gonna claw my money back. I was gonna take it all. Next day, my wife rang me up, her voice all sugary, way too sweet. "Hey, honey," she cooed, like she hadn't just stabbed me in the back worse than ever. I kicked back in my chair, letting her dig herself deeper. "So, I'm guessing you talked to Tyler?" I stayed quiet. She took that as a green light. "Look, I get it might look rough, but he really needed a boost," she said, laying on that phony pity she always pulled when she wanted something. "You're always saying you want to help folks out, right? Tyler just needed a nudge. You've got your finances on lock, Mike. This ain't a big hit for you. Ain't a big hit. 45 grand was chump change, huh?" My grip on the phone got tighter, but I kept my tone steady as a rock. "So you just figured you'd hand him my cash?" She paused. "Well, I mean, it's not like you're even touching it." Right then, it hit me, she didn't feel a shred of guilt. Not one bit. She was dead sure I'd let it slide, that I'd be the same old dependable Mike, shrug, sigh, and eat the loss like always. She couldn't have been more off. "I'm proud of you, honey," she tacked on, like she was tossing me a pat on the head. "You're such a stand-up guy for getting it." Getting it. I almost cracked up. "Sure thing," I said, slick as butter. "Pass on a congrats to Tyler for me." "Oh, you should tell him yourself," she chirped, all bubbly. "He's pumped for the housewarming party this Saturday. You're in, right?" I smirked, though she couldn't see it. "Wouldn't miss it for the world." She sounded downright smug, I could hear it loud and clear. "Awesome," she said. "It's gonna be epic. Oh, and Tyler's got some papers for you to sign. Nothing major, just routine stuff." "I'll handle all the signing at the party," I cut in. "Oh, cool. Perfect. Sweet, sounds good." We ended the call, and I just sat there for a bit, letting her words sink in like a heavy stone. It wasn't only what she pulled off, it was her rock-solid belief that she'd get away clean, that she could hand over my financial life, my safety net, to some other guy and I'd just nod and take it. That's when the fury finally kicked in. I'd poured years into scraping by, plotting out my future, climbing the ladder at work, and she'd chucked it all to a dude too lazy and dumb to build his own life. Tyler didn't just rob me blind, he figured he'd stepped into my shoes. And my wife? She'd rolled the dice, betting I wouldn't push back. Big mistake, she was about to crash and burn. The social media show-off. That night, I scrolled through Tyler's Instagram. He wasn't wasting a second showing off his big win. His latest post. A cheesy, posed shot in front of his shiny new house, keys dangling, rocking a fancy watch I knew damn well my money had paid for. Dreams come true, y'all. Big thanks to my incredible lady for having my back. Can't wait to give everyone the grand tour at Saturday's housewarming. Blessed Fresh Start Dream Pad. I read that garbage twice, snapped a screenshot, and tossed it into my growing stash of proof. It was almost laughable how easy he made this. The guy had no clue how real estate even worked. He didn't know the housing project he'd snagged was tied to my company. He was blind to the fact that his mortgage, deed, all those papers making him king of the castle, I could tap into every single one. Tyler didn't own jack. He'd walked right into my trap. My folks chime in, and screw up big time. It didn't take long for word to reach my parents. Should have seen that coming. My mom was the first to dial me up. "Hey, Mike, sweetie," she said, her tone oozing that fake nicey nice my wife had tried pulling. "Look, I know you're ticked off." "Yeah, what tipped you off?" She let out a sigh. "Your wife filled me in on everything, and I just wanna say, don't go flipping out yet." "Flipping out?" "Sweetie," she barreled on, "Tyler needed a break. You know he's been struggling. He's just trying to get his life together." I let out a dry chuckle. "Oh, with my cash. You've got your finances locked down," she said, like it was the third time I'd heard that lame excuse. "This isn't some huge hit for you." My teeth clenched tight. "It's a huge damn hit to me." "Well, I think you're overreacting a tad," she huffed, sounding fed up. "Tyler's a big part of your wife's world now, and you love her, right?" I didn't bother replying. She took my silence as a green light to keep going. "So be a good husband," she said. "Sign those mortgage papers. Let them enjoy this." I hung up right there, and for the first time ever, I felt zilch for my mom. She'd picked her side, and I'd picked mine. Gearing up for the party. The next 3 days were dead quiet on my end. My wife? She acted like nothing was wrong, humming tunes around the apartment, yakking with her buddies, hitting the shops. She was way too cocky, dead certain I'd let this slide. Tyler kept the updates rolling, pics of his new digs, shots of furniture he was splurging on, counting down to his big shindig. Me? I bided my time. I rounded up the whole kit and caboodle, credit card records, security clips, emails, real estate papers tying me to that property legally. Then I made my last moves, called my lawyer, hit up the real estate agent running Tyler's mortgage, and locked in my RSVP for the housewarming. Tyler thought he'd swiped something from me. He figured this was his shiny new chapter. What he didn't get. It was the start of his downfall. I've always been the type to stay ready. That's why my bank account was rock solid, my job was killing it, and my life ran on a tight leash of discipline. But nothing could have prepped me for a curveball like this. The backstabbing? That part one could have called. The second my wife started stretching her friend hangouts longer, slipping out to take calls, tilting her phone away from my eyes, it was obvious as hell. What blindsided me was the balls on her. She didn't just step out on me, she handed my whole financial future to her side guy like I was just an ATM with legs. Tyler had talked to me like he'd already won, like I was some chump who'd roll over and eat it. I could have lost it, screamed, trashed the place, stormed up to them in a fury. But that's not me. I've always known real payback hits best when it's ice cold. Step 1, rounding up the dirt. I popped open the security footage from my place. There she was, my wife, gliding through my office like she'd done it 100 times. I watched her dig through my desk, her face lit up by her phone as she snapped shots of my credit cards. I'd set those cameras up 6 months back, after weird charges first popped up on my statements. First time, I shrugged it off as a glitch. Second time, I started paying attention. By the third, I knew I needed hard evidence. I never called her out, wanted to see how far she'd go when she thought I wasn't watching. And now, bam, there it was. Next, I dove into my emails. Jackpot, messages between her and Tyler, all about my money. Mike barely glances at his credit reports. We can shift the cash now, and he won't even blink. Mike's credit is gold. Use his details to get pre-approved quick, just play it like we share accounts, it'll fly right through. And the gut punch, one from my mom. Mike might push back at first, but tell him he's set financially. He'll cave. He always does. When I was done, I had it all neatly packed in a folder, the video of my wife swiping my credit stuff, the emails with Tyler plotting it out, the transaction logs of their shady charges, even the proof my parents were in on the game. But that was just the warm-up. Step 2, cracking the house deal. Then I zeroed in on the house itself, Tyler's dream crib, the one he thought he'd locked down. I logged into my work system at Carter and Hayes, the investment outfit I'd been with for 7 years. Tyler figured he'd scored a home, but here's the kicker, he'd bought into a project my firm was running. Better yet, the agent handling the sale was my old coworker's wife, and the property manager. A buddy from my college days. I let out a slow breath. This wasn't just a stab in the back, it was a golden ticket. I wasn't just clawing my money back, I was taking the whole damn pot. Step 3, dialing up the big guns. First up, I rang my lawyer. "Hey, Sarah," I said when she answered, "I need you to tackle a financial fraud mess for me." She'd been my go-to for years, sorting my investments and estate stuff. "Who pulled it off?" she asked. I grinned. "My wife and her boyfriend." A beat of silence, then, "All right, spill it." I laid out the whole deal, the jacked credit cards, the sneaky transactions, the house they snagged with my dough. "Mike," she said when I wrapped up, "you got evidence. Everything you could want." After a beat, she let out a slow breath. "All right, here's the game plan." Sarah laid it out for me, backing up what I'd already figured, this was a legal train wreck for them. They weren't just messing with credit card fraud, Tyler had gone full-on identity thief by jacking my financial details for that mortgage. And my wife? She was right there in the thick of it, playing accomplice. Next, I dialed up the real estate agent. I kept it short and sweet. "Yo, just a heads up, Tyler pulled some shady crap with fake financials to snag that house." She didn't say anything for a sec, I had a weird vibe about his paperwork, she mumbled eventually. "What's your move?" "Keep it hush-hush," I told her. "Don't tip him off yet. Just get all the legal stuff lined up for a switch." Then I hit up the property manager. "Hey, Brian," I said, all casual like, "word is you're running the new development. Got a problem with one of the buyers." Brian's always been a no BS guy. "What's the deal?" "The deal where he used my credit to score the place." A stunned pause. "Holy crap. You said it. So, what's next?" I grinned. "Just make sure it's all set for the real owner to step in." Step 4, taking the bait. Last call was to Tyler. "Hey, dude," he picked up, voice brimming with swagger. "You pumped for the party?" "Hell yeah. Awesome. Oh, and I've got some papers for you to sign, mortgage junk, no big deal." I almost cracked up right there. He was still trying to rope me into signing off, tying me legally to his mess. "Sounds good," I said, cool as ice. "I'll bring some docs of my own too." He didn't even blink. "Sweet, man. Catch you Saturday." I hung up, eyeballing my phone. I had it all, evidence, legal muscle, the perfect stage. Tyler thought this housewarming was his big victory lap. He didn't have a clue it was his funeral. That Saturday afternoon, the sun was blazing, casting this golden shine that made everything look picture perfect. Too bad Tyler wasn't about to feel any of that magic today. I pulled my car up a block away from his new digs, the pad I'd bankrolled, and scoped it out from afar. Fancy cars jammed the driveway and lined the street, screaming money and clout. People were milling around the front yard, sipping wine and chuckling, no idea the guy they were toasting had built his fairy tale on my stolen cash. I hopped out, smoothed my jacket, and felt the heft of the folder in my grip. Every shred of proof, every paper, every bit of ammo I needed was tucked inside. This wasn't just a party, it was a takedown. The fake triumph. As I strolled up to the house, Tyler's loud, grating laugh hit me from across the crowd. He was loving it, soaking up the spotlight like some hotshot businessman who'd finally hit the big time. Right next to him, decked out in a pricey designer dress, was my wife, her arm hooked around his like they were the king and queen of this dream bash. That sight should have lit a fire in me, but I didn't feel a damn thing, 'cause I already knew how this story ended. I stepped onto the porch, and Tyler clocked me, flashing a huge grin and raising his glass my way. "Mike, my guy," he shouted, pushing through the crowd to slap me on the back like we were old pals. I plastered on a tight smile while he gave me a hearty pat. "Glad you made it, bro. This house wouldn't be ours without you." I let that sit for a second, watching his smug, clueless face. "Yeah, I'm aware," I said, keeping it slick. He cackled, totally oblivious, and dragged me inside, waving his arms at the big living room, the tall ceilings, the slick marble counters in the kitchen. "Gorgeous, right?" he said with this over-the-top sigh. "Took a ton to get here, but man, if you've got faith in yourself, anything's doable." I had to bite my tongue to keep from busting out laughing. Instead, I gave a little nod, going along with it. "Sure is. Gotta keep that self-belief strong." He puffed up like a peacock. "Exactly. You get me, Mike. You're a solid dude, not one of those salty haters who can't stand seeing another guy come out on top." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I'm all about guys winning, when they've earned it." His grin flickered for a split second, but he was too full of himself to catch the jab in my tone. The big show. The party was in full gear now. Folks were spread out all over the house, booing and eyeing over the decor, snapping pics, topping off their fancy champagne. I caught sight of my wife by the fancy staircase, giggling with a bunch of ladies who were obviously wowed by her new high-roller vibe. Then she spotted me, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of worry in her eyes. She didn't think I'd actually show. Perfect. I held her stare for a long stretch, not saying a word, until she finally looked away, acting like I wasn't even standing there. Tyler, though, was still playing the big shot host, showing folks around the house. "This is just the start," he bragged to some guy. "I've got huge plans, investments, business moves. Once you catch that first lucky break, man, everything just lines up, you feel me?" I took a slow sip of my drink and plopped my folder down on the kitchen island. "Speaking of breaks," I said, cranking my voice up just enough to grab the attention of the people nearby, "I've got a little something for you, Tyler. A housewarming present." He spun around, caught off guard. "Ah, dude, you didn't need to do that." "Oh, trust me, I wanted to." Now all eyes were on me. Even my wife edged closer, her face flickering with curiosity. I flipped open the folder and started laying out the papers, one by one, right there on the island. The wake-up call. First up, the security cam shots. Tyler's brow creased as he peeked at them. They caught my wife in my office, digging through my desk, snapping pics of my credit cards. Then came the credit card statements. His puzzled look got deeper as he scanned the numbers. Next, the printed emails. The color drained from his face. I caught the low buzz of whispers from the crowd as they leaned in, trying to figure out what was going down. "What the hell is this?" Tyler mumbled, his usual swagger nowhere to be found. I didn't say a thing. Instead, I slid out the clincher, the property deed. And right there, in bold, clear letters, was my name. Not his. Not my wife's. Mine. Tyler's hands shook as he grabbed the sheet, his eyes darting over it again and again, like he could wish the words away. Then it hit him like a freight train. He'd never owned this place. He'd never been in charge. Everything he thought he'd built. It was mine from the jump. The fall. Tyler staggered back, his mouth flapping open and shut like a fish out of water. "No, no way, this has gotta be a mix-up." I cocked my head. "Does it, though? This can't be real," he stammered, his voice quaking now. "The mortgage is under my name." I leaned in close. "That mortgage got the green light because of my financial cred, my credit, my track record. You were just the fool who scribbled his name on it, thinking you were running the show. He whipped his head around, frantic for backup, but the room had gone stone-cold quiet. My wife finally stepped up. "Mike, you can't." I threw up a hand, shutting her down. "Oh, I absolutely can." I tapped the pile of proof. "You and Tyler pulled off fraud, identity theft, the whole conspiracy gig. And here's the kicker, I've got every scrap of evidence to lock you both up tight." Her face went ghost white. Tyler gripped the deed, shaking his head like a madman. "No, no, no, you wouldn't, you can't." I flashed a grin. "How about we cut a deal? The last shot." I pulled out another stack of papers. "These sign the house over to me for real, deed, mortgage, the works. You put your name on them, and maybe I'll let you skate without me pressing charges." Tyler's eyes bounced between the docs and me. "And if I say no?" I gave a lazy shrug. "Then I make a couple calls, and by tomorrow, you're rocking cuffs." He shot a panicked glance at my wife, but she was out of moves. For once, she couldn't twist her way out, no slick excuses, no smooth talk. She'd bet it all on me not fighting back, and she'd blown it. The call. It was so quiet I could hear the pen scratching as Tyler signed, page 1, then page 2. He didn't have a choice. I watched my wife swallow hard, her fists balled up tight at her sides. I leaned in, just close enough for her to catch my whisper. "Think of this as the last thing I'll ever hand you." She didn't say a word. What could she even come up with? Tyler dropped the pen, looking like a guy who'd just watched his whole life cave in. I scooped up the papers, slid them neatly into my folder, and turned to head out. As I hit the front door, I caught the sound of my wife's voice cracking, the sound of the truth finally slamming into them. And man, for the first time in forever, I felt like I could breathe free. I didn't bother glancing back. Didn't need to see the mess I'd left in my wake. I could hear it loud and clear, the stunned hush of the crowd, the quick gasps from people clocking they'd been hyping up a fake, the fast whispers as they pieced together the embarrassment playing out. And then, right on cue. "Mike, hold up." Tyler's voice broke as he stumbled after me. I stopped, not 'cause I was rethinking anything, but 'cause I wanted to see how low he'd sink. I turned, watching him trip over himself to catch up, his face still pale, hands shaking like crazy. My wife, ex-wife in my book now, just stood there, rooted to the spot. She didn't follow, probably knowing she'd run out of tricks to pull me back in. Good. Tyler looked like he was choking on his words. "Listen, man, I know you're pissed." I raised a hand, and that one move shut him up cold. "Let's get one thing straight," I said, my voice slicing through the air. "This ain't about me being pissed, Tyler. This is about consequences, something you obviously don't get." He gulped hard. I get it now, I swear, but you." I held up the folder, giving it a little tap against my hand. "Do you really?" I asked, all calm-like. "'Cause here's the deal, you don't just figure out you screwed up and skip off. You made your play, both of you, and now you're stuck with what comes next." Tyler's eyes darted from me to the house. He looked like a dude watching his whole future crumble right in front of him, 'cause that's exactly what was going down. "Mike," he tried again, voice wobbly, "look, we can sort this out, okay? Man to man, no lawyers, we can." I let out a low laugh, shaking my head. "Oh, Tyler," I said with a mock sigh, flipping the folder open and yanking out a notarized sheet. "I'm a man. That's why I keep my money straight instead of swiping it from others like some spineless punk." His jaw dropped, but nothing came out. "But since you want to chat," I went on, smooth as ever, "here's how this goes. You've got two roads." I stuck up one finger. "Road 1, I dropped the hammer, security clips of my wife jacking my credit info, the paper trail of your crooked mortgage grab, the emails where you two cooked up this con, and my lawyers recorded calls. That's felony territory for you both: credit fraud, identity theft, conspiracy. We're talking federal-level stuff, Tyler. Not a little oopsie you can shrug off. This is the kind of damage that sticks. I let that hang there. Tyler's breath caught. Then I popped up a second finger. Road 2, I said, tapping the next pile of papers. You hand the house over to me, legit, legal, done. 'Cause let's face it, Tyler, you never owned it for real. You were just squatting in a dream that was mine all along. I smirked, watching the dread sink in deeper. Sign that, and you'll also lock into a payback plan, every penny you took from me, down to the last buck. Tyler's fists clenched. He wasn't used to being the one with no say. Tough luck. And if I don't, he croaked, barely audible. I gave him a slow, steady stare. Then you'll find out how you look in jailhouse orange. The silence dragged on. Tyler's face twisted up, fear, humiliation, and the slow realization he was cornered. My wife took a step forward. Mike, please. I swung my eyes to her, and she flinched hard. Nope, I said flat out. That one word, sharp, cold, final, wiped out any hope she was clinging to. You brought this on, I said, my tone empty of feeling. You chose this. You gave your boyfriend my cards, my security. You cheered while he robbed me blind. And now you're begging for a break? Her mouth opened, eyes tearing up like she was about to cry. I tilted my head. You don't get a break. She let out a tiny gasp, like the truth physically stung. Tyler just stood there, gawking at the papers like they were his death warrant. They pretty much were. I sighed, tapping the stack again. Clock's ticking, Tyler. Pick one. I could see the gears grinding in his head, scrambling for an out, a loophole, anything. There wasn't squat. Finally, his shoulders slumped, and his face just fell, pure, gutted defeat. He grabbed the pen and signed, first page, then the next. His hand was shaky, his breathing all over the place, but he scratched his name on every sheet. When he dropped the pen, reality had him by the throat. The house wasn't his anymore. His big dream? Toast. I gathered the papers, checked his scrawl, and slid them back into the folder nice and tidy. Then I looked at my wife. Your turn, I said, sliding another set her way. Her eyes went wide. What? The confession, I spelled out. You admit you were in on the fraud, that you helped Tyler steal my identity and my money, knowing full well what you were doing. She shook her head, backing off. No, Mike, I can't. Then I press charges, I said, voice flat as a board, and you can try your luck with a judge. She froze, her breath catching, then grabbed the pen with trembling hands. It took her forever, her shakes were worse than Tyler's, but she finally scratched out her signature, slow and wobbly. When she was done, her face was ashen, and she was quivering like a leaf. I pulled the papers back, giving them a long, quiet once-over. Then I snapped the folder shut, and boom, it was over. I turned to walk out. Mike, my wife choked out, her voice breaking, please. I stopped at the door but didn't look back. Wanna know the worst part? I asked, keeping my tone even. I wasn't even mad at first. I was let down. I could see a random crook pulling this, but you weren't some grifter off the street. You were supposed to be my teammate, my wife. Her breath caught again. I let out a slow sigh, loosening up my shoulders. But here's the thing, I'm done caring. That hit her like a sledgehammer, the fact that she didn't even rate my anger, my hurt, or a second of my time anymore. She let out a strangled little noise, like she had something to say but couldn't get it out. Fine by me. Tyler looked like a broken man, barely keeping it together. Even sweeter. I stepped out into the crisp air, feeling it brush against my face. That heavy knot that had been sitting on my chest for months just vanished. I hopped into my car, tossed the folder on the seat next to me, and peeled out, leaving their screw-ups in the dust. For the first time in ages, I felt this rush of relief. They'd been playing my life like it was some big gag for months. Now they were the ones stuck with the punchline. I was finally free, man, after years of being tied down. I didn't glance back. No point. I could sense it all, the heavy quiet from them, the shocked gasps from the crowd, the way that housewarming vibe flipped from party to train wreck. None of that was my problem anymore. I'd done what I came for. As I cruised off, clutching that folder full of signed papers, my phone started buzzing. I didn't even flinch. I knew the drill, probably my wife, maybe Tyler, or even my folks. Didn't matter one bit. For once, I wasn't the guy stuck patching up their disasters. They could wallow in the mess they'd made. The social media crash. By the time I rolled up to my place, I could tell what was going down without even peeking. They were in full-on damage control mode. They'd been humiliated in front of everybody. Tyler's precious dream house, my house, got yanked out from under him right there with his buddies, co-workers, and all his online fans watching. My wife, who'd been soaking up the glow of her fancy new life, got laid bare as just another crook in on the scam. No way they'd let that slide without a fight. So I checked it out. Sure enough, Tyler's Instagram was drowning in these slick, vague posts. Some folks'll try to drag you down when they see you shining. Keep your head up and don't let the haters rob your happiness. Fresh start. I snorted. Lame as hell. My wife, who'd been plastering our perfect marriage all over the internet for years, went dark. No updates, no pics, just this creepy silence that screamed she was freaking out behind the curtain. Then the usual happened, my phone lit up. Mom's number first. I let it roll to voicemail. Then Dad's turn. Then her again. I watched the notifications stack up, missed calls, messages, texts piling on, all these frantic stabs at twisting the story before it spun out of control. I didn't pick up. They were used to me being the fixer, the guy who'd take the hit and keep things chill. Not this time. The face-off. It was pushing midnight when someone started hammering on my door. I didn't need to check the peephole to know it was my dad. I thought about letting him pound away out there, but he'd probably keep it up till the neighbors lost it. So I cracked the door open. His face was all tense, his stance rigid. He wasn't used to showing up on my turf like this. He'd always been the big shot calling the shots. Not tonight. We gotta talk, he said, stepping up like I'd just wave him in. I didn't budge. Go ahead. My cold vibe through him. He wasn't ready for this side of me. Your mom's a wreck, he kicked off, that old disappointed tone creeping in. She's been trying to reach you all night. Yeah, I know, I said. I blew her off on purpose. That rocked him back. He blinked hard. Mike, this whole mess, it's gotten way out of hand. I propped myself against the doorframe, arms crossed. Out of hand? I echoed. Tell me, Dad, was it out of hand when my wife handed my whole financial life to some dude? Or when you and Mom egged her on? His lips pressed tight. We didn't. You did, I snapped, cutting him off. I've got the emails. You and Mom told her I'd get over it, that I'd understand. You backed up every damn thing her and Tyler pulled. For once, he didn't have a comeback ready. I saw it sink in slow. He'd always been the one steering the ship, but now he was the one scrambling. He finally sighed, dragging a hand across his face. Mike, we figured, thought you'd be okay pitching in. Tyler was trying to get a clean slate. I laughed, shaking my head. Tyler was robbing me blind. He didn't need a hand up, he needed a wake-up call. And now he's got one. He frowned. And your wife? You really want to torch your marriage like this? I gave him a long, steady look. That marriage was toast the second she sold me out, I said. Quiet hung between us. He sighed again, looking older than I'd ever seen him. So that's that. You're cutting us loose. I tilted my head. Nah, just drawing some lines. Don't like them. That's on you. He huffed, but the fight was gone. He knew he was beat. All right, he grumbled, stepping back, but don't come crying to us when you're in a bind. I smirked. Never have. I slammed the door before he could toss another word. And just like that, the last string tying me to them snapped clean. The fallout. The next few days blurred by. Tyler tried clawing back, tossing out mysterious online hints like he was the victim here. Didn't fly, 'cause he might have had clout, but I had the receipts. The real estate folks sealed the deal official-like. The house was mine, locked in, no takebacks. Tyler and my wife couldn't touch it. They tweaked the mortgage to match, and I made damn sure Tyler's fraud got flagged hard. His credit tanked overnight. His new beginning turned into a money nightmare. My wife? She grabbed her stuff and bailed. No big speeches, no teary sorries, just a quiet, beaten retreat. I didn't stop her. Didn't give a damn. Free at last. A week later, I stood in that empty house, taking it all in, a place that was supposed to be someone else's dream once. Now it was mine, no bullshit success, no stolen fantasies, just me. And man, it felt good. For the first time in years, my life was my own, no more mopping up other people's messes, no more playing the good guy while they ran wild. I'd taken back what belonged to me. But I'm not dumb. I knew Tyler and my wife, ex-wife, far as I cared, weren't the type to fade out quiet. They'd pull something. And I was ready. The blackmail play. 3 days later, there's a knock at my office door. I glanced up from my desk, not shocked to see her there, my ex-wife. Her hair was all perfect, makeup on point, but she had this twitchy vibe now, like she was wound tight. I didn't tell her to come in. She waltzed in anyway, shutting the door behind her. We need to hash this out, she said. I kicked back in my chair. Funny how you didn't feel like talking when you slipped my credit card info to your boyfriend. She swallowed hard but didn't flinch. Tyler's got something, she said fast. Something that could tank you. I raised an eyebrow. Yeah. She fished a folder out of her bag and slid it across my desk. I flipped it open. Inside were old papers I hadn't seen in forever, contracts from when I'd helped her kick off her first gig, that flop of a boutique she swore would hit big. Convinced me to co-sign, 'cause she was so damn sure. It tanked in months. She'd promised to cover the fallout, but looks like she'd stashed a little ace up her sleeve. You put your name on this, she said soft, pointing at the contract. There's a line in there saying you're on the hook for all my business moves, past, present, future. I stared at the page, then locked eyes with her. She hesitated. If Tyler goes down for fraud, he's dragging you with him. This ties you to his debts through me. You push charges, you're screwed too. She folded her arms, looking smug, like she'd pinned me against the wall. I just laughed. She blinked, thrown off. What's that supposed to mean? Funny thing, I said, leaning in, you actually think you're holding the cards here, don't you? She faltered for a split second. This isn't a game, Mike. You could lose it all. You think you've got this in the bag, but Tyler. I spun my laptop her way and hit play. The clip was from 6 years back, her parked at my old desk, scribbling my signature over and over, that boutique contract right in front of her. She'd practiced my handwriting till it was spot on, faked my initials, cooked up my okay to be her guarantor. All her. She gasped and stumbled back like the screen had zapped her. I tilted my head. That's not a contract, I said, smooth as butter. That's forgery. Her face went pale as a ghost. You thought you had me cornered, I went on, keeping my tone cool, almost chuckling, but all you did was gift me another nail for your coffin. She was trembling now. Mike. Nope, I cut her off sharp. You picked your path. Now deal with it. I yanked another folder from my desk drawer and slid it over. This here, I said, is what I'm handing my lawyer. It's got every fake paper you whipped up, every signature you mimicked, every dirty trick you pulled to try and sink me. Her shaky hands flipped it open, eyes darting over the pages. Her breathing got quick and shallow. You can't. I kicked back in my chair. Already done. She sank into the seat across from me, that polished front of hers finally cracking. Mike, please, you don't have to go there. I stared at her, this woman who used to be my wife, who'd lied, cheated, ripped me off, and then had the guts to stroll in here thinking she could scare me. I didn't feel a damn thing for her anymore. I don't have to, I admitted, but I sure as hell want to. A lone tear rolled down her cheek. Please. I let out a slow breath. You want an out? She nodded fast, desperate. Anything. I rested my hands on the desk. You go public, spill it all. The fraud, the theft, the forged docs, every bit. Her lips quivered. And then, I kept going, you signed something saying you'll never try to screw me over financially again, no calls, no sneaky moves, nada. Her fists balled up. I cocked my head. Or I let the law loose, and you and Tyler can rot in court. She shut her eyes. No way out. Okay, she whispered, barely audible. I slid a pen her way. She grabbed it and signed. The last play. I walked her to the door. Before she stepped out, she turned back, her eyes wet with what might have been regret. I didn't mean for it to get this bad, she mumbled. I shot her a icy grin. But it did. She opened her mouth, like she had more to say. I slammed the door in her face. And poof, she was gone. Tyler's final flop. Next day, Tyler tried one last swing, a lawyer's letter popped into my inbox, claiming defamation. I cracked up. Then I shot it all to my lawyer. In 48 hours, Tyler got hit with a real response, solid legal paper. It had the video of my ex jacking my financials, the shady mortgage app, his own emails bragging about the theft, and that forged contract she'd fessed up to. Wrapped up with one line, Mr. Tyler Johnson, we suggest you drop this now. You're out of moves, and pushing it just speeds up your downfall. He pulled the suit back in hours. The real finish. A week later, my ex went live online, a post all polished up, I messed up big. I hurt someone I loved, and I own it. Taking a break from social media to work on myself and rebuild the right way. She tried spinning it like some growth story, but folks aren't dumb. Her influencer gig tanked overnight. Tyler. He vanished. His profiles went dead, his business deals dried up. Nobody trusted him anymore. Me. I kept moving. 1 year down. I stood out front of the house, my house. A sold sign rocked in the breeze. Never meant to keep it, it wasn't home, just a trophy of what I'd reclaimed. Now it was someone else's shot at a dream. As I walked off, my phone pinged, a text from my lawyer, Sarah, all wrapped up. You're clear of them for good. I breathed out, feeling a calm I hadn't known in years. They'd spent months jerking my life around, stealing, lying, stabbing me in the back. Now they were just shadows fading out. I tucked my phone away and headed to my car. For the first time in forever, I was free. A year back, they'd stripped me bare, my trust, my money, my marriage. Now I'd grabbed it all back, plus some. This last year taught me control, how to snatch it and hold it tight. 'Cause folks like my ex and Tyler, They don't go quiet easy. They claw, they scrape, they beg for a lifeline. But I stood my ground. Let them fall apart under their own dumb choices. I was back in front of that house, the one that kicked this whole mess off. My house, or at least it used to be a shrine to her betrayal. Now it was different, sold off, gone, somebody else's headache. The wreckage left behind. Tyler went full ghost. His loudmouth social media pages sat empty, his business ideas all crashed. His name was mud in some investment crowds, no one touched him. He tried, sure, hit up mutual contacts, spinning yarns to claw back some cred. Nobody bit, especially after I made sure his financial rap sheet was trashed like he tried to trash mine. Didn't take much, just a couple emails to the right folks, some low-key chats with real estate players. Tyler wasn't climbing anywhere. He was a walking warning sign. My ex. She's still scraping by. That public mea culpa gutted her influencer game. Sponsors bailed, deals vanished. She tried playing the "I'm growing from this" card, but the internet doesn't forgive like she hoped. She's back with her folks now, people who used to think she could do no wrong. Even they see through her now. Last I heard, she's stuck in some entry-level marketing gig, the kind she'd scoff at as lame back when I was grinding it. Kinda perfect, right? My folks finally get it. For months, my parents acted like everything was still normal, like time would just patch it all up. "Mike, you've gotta move past this," my mom begged in a voicemail once. "She's your wife. Sure, she messed up, but you love her, right?" I didn't hit her back right away, not 'cause I was waffling, but 'cause I needed them to really hear me. So I dialed her up. "Mom," I said, keeping my voice even, solid, no room for doubt, "she's not my wife anymore." Dead air. But. No buts, I cut in. I'm through justifying this. I'm done letting stuff slide that never should have happened. She gave it another shot. We were only trying to support her, Mike. She stabbed me in the back. It was a screw-up. I let out a quick, sharp breath, leaning back in my chair. "Mom, let me throw this at you. If I'd pulled this on her, if I'd swiped her cash, trashed her credit, bought some other chick a house, would you be defending me like this?" Total silence. That said it all. From then on, things shifted. The guilt trips dried up. The constant "let's hash it out" nonsense faded away. My parents finally got that I wasn't budging on this one. And for once, they actually respected it. Moving forward, my way. Dumping the house was my last big move, not 'cause I was strapped for cash, but 'cause I wasn't about to keep any piece of them hanging around. I'd already leveled up my life, new spot, smaller but all mine, sleek and peaceful, no ghosts of the past lurking in the corners. I'd nabbed the promotion I'd busted my ass for, Chief Investment Officer. That title? It meant I wasn't just decent at my gig, I was the damn best. Funny how it worked out, Tyler thought he could snatch my financial footing. Instead, I came out richer, stronger, and calling the shots like never before. And them? They're just faint echoes of who they used to be. One final text. The night before the house sale locked in, my phone buzzed, a text from some random number. Didn't need to guess who. "Tyler, you good now? You took it all. Hope it feels worth it." I stared at that message for a while. Then I typed back, "You ripped me off, Tyler." I just grabbed it back. That's where we're different. No response. Never would be, 'cause he knew he'd lost, and I'd come out on top. Eyeing what's ahead. As I turned from the house one last time, something clicked inside, relief, a clean slate. I'd been stuck in their mess for so long, reacting, shielding myself, picking up their pieces. Not anymore. Now my days were mine, and damn, they'd never looked better. A year flips everything. 12 months ago, I was right here, watching my ex's life implode. I'd heard Tyler's frantic scrambling to dodge the hole he'd dug. I'd walked off from their wreckage, knowing I was finally cut loose. Now, that house was someone else's. Saw the new owners once, a young couple, 2 little kids, the type who'd make it a real home, not some scam-built trophy. I stood on the sidewalk, hands jammed in my pockets, eyeing the "sold" sign swaying in the wind. Felt like the story had come full circle. This spot used to mark where I got burned, now it's proof I came out ahead. Tying up the ends. Selling the place was a calculated call, not a heart thing. After I took it back from Tyler, I had zero plans to stay. It wasn't my kind of home, not the way I pictured one. The sale cash. Plenty to cover what Tyler jacked, plus a nice chunk left over. Best part. Tyler and my ex had no piece of it, I made damn sure. Court nailed them with repayment deals, so every dime they took, they'd cough up slow and steady. No running off, they had to grind for it. To me, that's revenge done right. Where they landed. Haven't talked to either in months, but I still know their deal. Tyler tried clawing back into the business game, but his name's poison now. Investors won't go near him, companies won't risk the stink. He torched too many bridges, and unlike me, he's got no base to start over. Word is he's hopping between dead-end sales gigs, barely keeping his head above water. My ex. She's slipped into the background. That public confession gutted her influencer hustle. No more sponsors, no more deals. She tried flipping it to some "learning from my screw-ups" angle, but nobody's biting. Her fans ditched her, the brands she lived for moved on. Went from high-rolling to scraping by on some basic job, barely covering rent. Poetic, huh? They both tried gaming their way up, and now they're stuck eating the fallout. Building me back. I didn't just sit around watching them flop, I got to work. Threw everything into my job, and it paid off big. That promotion I'd chased. Landed it, Chief Investment Officer. It's not just a paycheck, though that's sweet, it's power. For years, I was the quiet guy in the back, letting folks step all over me. No more. I figured out how to guard what's mine, draw lines in the sand, make sure nobody pulls that crap again. And bigger than that, I learned to drop the baggage. A surprise note. Standing there by the house, my phone buzzed. I peeked at it, figuring it'd be work or a buddy. Nope, a number I hadn't seen in ages. "Mom, dinner tonight?" Just us. No strings. I held that text, letting it sit. Things with my parents shifted after all this. Early on, they tried the guilt game, pushing that "family forgives" line no matter how bad the betrayal. I didn't bend. Didn't ditch them completely, but I laid it out: you want me around, you respect my rules. Took time, but they started getting it. This message? Different, no excuses, no pressure, just a simple ask. I let out a breath, slid the phone back in my pocket. Maybe it was time. Walking off for real. I gave the house one last look. A year ago, it was my low point. Now it's a marker of how far I've climbed. I turned, cool and steady, headed to my car, and didn't glance back. Some stuff's not worth clinging to. And for the first time in a long damn while, I was truly free. Hope you love this one on Top Stories Hub. Subscribe if you haven't yet, leave a comment, and let's keep the stories flowing.